Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very, very, very cold Memorial Stadium here tonight for Norwich City's FA Cup third round replay against Bristol Rovers. I'm joined by Paddy Davitt, and we have the team, which I'll read out for you here. It's Long in goal, Stacey, Bart, Gibson and McCallum, the back four, Sorensen and McLean and Sauer as a midfield three, with Rowe, Hernandez and Ida. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of Gabriel Sara in support of Adam Ida. That would be nice. And the subs, Angus Gunn, Anson, Sainz, Gibbs, Barnes, Fashnak, Boheta, Nunez and Fisher. So just to read that again, Long in goal, Stacey, Bart, Gibson, McCallum is the back four, Sorensen and McLean, the midfield two with Sauer, Rowe and Hernandez. Behind Adam Ida, Gunn, Anson, Sainz, Gibbs, Barnes, Fashnak, Boheta, Nunez and Fisher make up the bench. You can probably see by our attire it is utterly freezing, but we'll do our best to bring it. There we go. Very, very on brand. Very on brand. Paddy, David Wagner said he wouldn't make 9 changes. I don't have the number to hand of how many he has made exactly, but that's a pretty strong Norwich City 11. Unlike the first game, McLean, Sara, both involved tonight.
Yeah, no, it feels like quite a few though. To be honest, Connor, if I was to top them up, you know, from Hull, Long, Bart, Gibson, McCallum, Sorensen, Hernandez, Ida. None of those played at Hull, so you're getting up around about 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8 there. So interesting one for me straight away is what
Count 7. I think.
Yeah. So, but not the 9, but not much less. But going back to what you're saying, yeah, interesting one is what's the mix now across midfield. To me, it feels more like maybe a 4-1 with Sorensen sitting in front of the back four, and a 4 then with obviously Rowe, Hernandez flanked by Sara McLean with Ida up top, which is an interesting one. You know, it's a big call for Sorensen to start, given, you know, he had 20 minutes at the back end of the first tie and then he had a development run out on Friday. But other than that, you know, in a game that's going to be pretty fierce, full-blooded, no holds barred, then that's a big call. 2 keepers on the bench as well, so that maybe underlines the point he was making yesterday when I was trying to get to him, that have you got almost too many numbers in terms of head count and what that might mean for your fringe senior players towards the back end of this window. But tonight he's had to go with 2 keepers on the bench, so maybe he isn't quite the depth that we feel there is in terms of the pure head count. But yeah, we were debating in the car, you know, would he change up both of the wide players? And I felt probably one of either Sainz or Rowe would drop out. It's Sainz on this occasion. Yeah, I quite like that. I quite like the fact, you know, that hopefully it will free Sara to get further forward. You know, from a guy who had 13 goal contributions in 18 championship games to now have none in the last 9, something has to change there. And hopefully, positionally, this might afford him a bit more license to get himself in and around the opposition box. And as those stats show, you know, if you can get him in and around the box, then things will happen for Norwich. And, you know, Bart and Gibson, well, it didn't quite... What was the game where those two got put together recently?
Millwall.
Yeah, well, I didn't quite...
Was it?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So, another opportunity for that central defensive pairing. I know it's no Duffy on the bench tonight, so we'll obviously run that past David. But, so there's pros and cons for me. Pros and cons if I look at that 11. I don't know what you think, Connor, off the bat.
Yeah, probably a little bit stronger than I was expecting, actually. I was maybe expecting to see a Forshaw, who, again, hasn't even made the bench in that 11. I think Sorensen, like you say, is a surprise. Maybe kind of expected another start for Liam Gibbs and Shemisov Boeta and those type of characters. Surprised that he's gone Rowe, Sara and McLean all in the starting 11. I guess that kind of underpins... Yeah, thanks for that, Spanish. Cheers for that. I think that kind of underpins his eagerness and his desire to get through to the next round, doesn't it, right? I mean, he kind of spoke about that Liverpool tie on the horizon. I think there's been a lot of talk about how big of a carrot that is for Bristol Rovers. It's also a big carrot for him personally. I'm sure this group of players as well, which I think has a few Scousers in it, doesn't it? So I'm sure there probably is a desire to set up that 4th round tie and probably also a willingness just to get this job done tonight, amidst all kind of the talk and expectation that Bristol Rovers have, and they feel that, you know, they deserve to replay. They probably wanted a replay, and they've taken the game back here. It's sold out tonight, biggest crowd here for a long time. And I think, you know, we've walked around more of the ground than perhaps we should have done. There's a real excitement and enthusiasm around this place at this moment. I mean, the amount of people who are in here, 55 minutes till kickoff is pretty incredible.
Yeah, and as you say, we won't bore the viewers with our travails of going to the wrong gate.
Nearly in the tunnel at one stage.
Yeah, no, I know. But we did. A very helpful lady did put us right, and she made it quite clear this is their biggest game in years and years. And I'm looking down at the new stand. It's got 900 seats in there tonight, almost a test event. That only got clearance, I think, from a health and safety point of view earlier today. Tickets went on sale. Tickets went in an hour. So there's a real appetite for this team here to do the job tonight. And as I've said to a few people, for some of those Bristol players, you mentioned there's a bit of a Liverpool connection there, but for a lot of those Bristol players, and the way to Anfield, that's career defining. That's probably a bigger game as they'll play in their careers, and that's no disrespect to these guys. But so they won't lack for motivation tonight, and that intensity. I get the sense tinged with the excitement is there off the pitch. So Norwich know what's coming. They should know what's coming. They're going to have to really match that on and off the pitch, and it could be an absolute rip snorter of a cup tie tonight. Yeah. So first time here. I mean, it's very. The stands in the nicest way, very higgledy-piggledy. There's not too much of the smooth veneer.
Character, that's what
character's the word we're looking for, yeah. But, even as I look down there, all behind the other opposite goal, the seats in that new stand behind the opposite goal, just terracing, a la maybe a Burton.
The main stand opposite us is almost like a cricket pavilion. That's almost the best way I can describe it. In a nice way, it's not a bad thing that it's like that. It just kind of encapsulates, I guess, really tight to the pitch. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be... quite the atmosphere in this place, and Norwich are going to have to deal with that, aren't they, and respond to that?
They will, yeah. I mean, if you don't know what's coming tonight, then really that would be a dereliction of duty in terms of David, his coaches, and those senior players. They will know, because I'm sure they've been on the end of poor results and shocks, maybe lowercase s, but shocks and surprises in this competition. They won't want that to happen tonight, and I think the theme for me that came out of speaking to David yesterday was they didn't do themselves justice, really. The players who played in that first game at Carrow Road didn't do themselves justice. Anybody who was there in terms of Norwich know that group of players could do a lot better. And Bristol did play well on the day. They had a structure, they had a plan. They grew in confidence when they got the equaliser. Maybe on the day that was probably a fair result overall, but you would hope tonight Norwich, if there was any trace of complacency, that won't be there tonight, and that they will know they need to put their best foot forward and continue a lot of the good elements of that whole performance, but just add a bit more in terms, as David said, a bit more in terms of possession now, a bit more of control to the game. And if they do that, I'm pretty confident Norwich have better quality players, and that will come through. But that will count for nothing if they don't pitch up here, roll their sleeves up collectively, metaphorically, and meet fire with fire. Because as we know, the Bristol head coach Matty Taylor was calling for 90 minutes of hell. So if it is welcome to hell, then they need to stand up and be counted.
Feels a lot like that with this weather, that's for sure. We don't have any of the fancy graphics tonight, which we'll explain in a moment, but I'll just bring you that Bristol Rovers 11. Cox, Grant, Finley, who captains them, Collins, Thomas, Taylor, a certain Chris Martin starts, Vale, Evans, McCormick and Crammer. The subs bench, Gordon, Sinclair, Marquis, Brown, Gibbons, Hall, Shaw and Hunt make up their starting 11. We spoke a little bit about the weather, Paddy. I think I certainly had some concerns that we might not even get. It's a fair play to the groundsmen who have looked after this, because I think they've had a few kind of minus nights in Bristol. Someone said at the moment it's -2, but feels like -6. We spoke to a Bristol Rovers official. I think there's a little bit of concern in the air about the second half, but I think once you get the first half done, we'll be okay. But the pitch, I mean, we're looking at it looks okay.
Yeah, it does look okay. Yeah, I mean, shouldn't have any complaints there at all. Bit bare in areas, but overall, given the elements, given it is a League One ground, fair play to them. But again, it flows into they were desperate. I mean, the covers only came off, I think, an hour or so before kickoff, so they were desperate to get this game on, and a lot of effort has gone in. You get that sense, all the officials and everybody connected to this football club, and fair play to them. And let's hope they don't get the picture book ending really in terms of progress to the fourth round. But this is I'm quite looking forward to this now. Even though somebody said we must be fuming in one of the earlier comments at having to come here after not doing the job in the first game, and that is true. But now we're here. Full house, few naughty challenges going in, and hopefully a little bit of quality from the Norwich boys, and who knows? It could off the back of Hull, roll them in nicely into West Brom and Leeds, and then Liverpool will take care of itself. So, we're looking for some sort of momentum and go forward in terms of the season in general. Maybe tonight, maybe in adversity, you can find something tonight which can help them moving back into the Championship.
Is there an element of lose-lose about this to an extent? Because if Norwich get beat, and we know we've sensed the temperature, we've probably agreed with a lot of the comments that fans have been feeling in recent months. They get beat here tonight, that will confirm a lot of what people have said about them. They win and it will get brushed off as, oh, well, it's just a League One side that they should have put away in the first tie anyway. So he has got it on, yeah. Is there an element of lose-lose? And I guess, is that where the performance comes in and where we need to see a much better performance than what we saw perhaps at Hull, certainly against Southampton in the first game of this cup tie as well, because this is going to be this is a game you would expect might not pan out like this, but you would expect Norwich to be in the ascendancy, to have a lot of the ball, and it will be up to them to try and take the game to Bristol Rovers, won't it?
It will, yeah, and manage those moments, because inevitably with this crowd, with the excitement and the anticipation, they'll have moments. So that's again where Norwich have to be robust, out of possession. Don't get carried away. Don't get caught up in the atmosphere if it does get a bit spicy in terms of on the pitch, off the pitch. But I liked what I heard from David yesterday in terms of that unprompted talking about. Yes, I like the togetherness. I like the mentality, Hall. But let's be honest, we wasn't good in possession again, and they haven't been. Let's be honest. Last 3 or 4 games, I think is a stat. Last 4 Championship games, the most possession they've had in any of those 4 was, 3 out of the 4, was 33%. I think they had a 60-odd at Millwall, but in the other 3 games, 33%, and that isn't going to give you that control. And it's not about going completely to the other end and being a Russell Martin, being a Daniel Farker, being slavishly going lateral with your passing. But by the same token, you need to have a little bit more of the ball, I think, particularly in a game like this where you want to take a little bit of heat out of it. And maybe that's, again, going right back to the start, why Sorensen is in there with McLean, with Zara. And if that 3 can get on the ball and set the tempo, I think inevitably the possession count will tick up. And if Norwich have a little bit more of the ball than they have in recent games, then they've got enough in the forward areas with Rowe, with Ida, with Hernandez, who's in a little nice rich vein of form now in terms of assist making. But they've got enough about them to really test this Bristol side, which they didn't do really at Carrow, did they? There was a little flurry in that first 20 minutes when Sargent and Barnes were looking in the mood. But after that, it was pretty drab, wasn't it? So let's see what this Bristol team have got when they come under a bit of pressure.
Just very quickly before we go to the score prediction, a word for our 2 colleagues who aren't up here with, I know, for them, poor little violins, because the space in the press box, because there's so much interest in this game, limited. So it's just me and you up here. We'll whisper it very quietly, but they are going to be amongst the home supporters tonight watching this game.
So are we?
Exactly, yeah. So keep quiet if you see them anywhere. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting evening.
I mean, they are. You're right, Connor. I mean, basically, again, we don't have the luxury of the Carrow Road expanse of press seats, so we got 2 instead of 4, which is fair enough. That's entirely their prerogative. Big game for them. Yeah. And it's a testament to the Norwich fans who have travelled, whether they're locally based or further afield, that the away end was sold out. Yep. Because that was our first thought, that those 2 gentlemen could
don't have a nice evening in the
give it a few throaty renditions of On the Ball City, but it wasn't to be. So particularly if you've come from Norfolk, again, hat tip, the cost and the time. And let's just hope again for, I don't even know what is the away allocation tonight. Huh? 800. Thank you, Mr. Wynn. So fair play to those 800, because they will
sold out as well.
Sold out, that's what I mean, yeah. So for them alone, I just hope that they get the result they want, and then they can get their tickets for Anfield, and on we go.
Score prediction?
Do you know, I hadn't given it a second thought until we got here.
I was more worried about the game being on, but
yeah. Oh, you got to go positive, haven't you? You got to go 1-3 Norwich.
Yeah, I'm the same.
1-3.
I'm going 3-1 as well. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, yeah, Pinkin.com, of course, the place to go. All your analysis, reaction.
Those Malcolm. We didn't even see this, Malcolm.
No,
we didn't. Trust me. If I can put it up there.
There we go. Yeah, we didn't see that, but we will. Pinkin.com, the place to go. We're speaking to David Wagner afterwards, and all the analysis, fallout, reaction from this evening's Cup replay. I'll just drop this here in the hope of breaking the statistic. The last FA Cup third round replay that Norwich City won. Paddy, do you know that?
Um,
I wasn't born. That's a clue.
okay. No, it knows the answer then.
No, 1990 against fourth tier Exeter. It was a 2-0 win at Carrow Road, I believe. And that was the last. I think they've had 6 since then. Obviously,
So
the
the
last
replay
one,
was at Carrow Road.
yes,
Yeah.
and they won that. I think they conceded quite late in the away game and had to score pretty late to send it to a replay. But yeah, thank goodness we're not doing the rest of that tonight because
We don't want pens. We don't want pens.
No, we don't really want extra time, to be honest. Let's get it done in 90 minutes and wrap it up. Thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy the evening. Hopefully you're somewhere a lot warmer than where we are, and we will catch you again very soon. Cheers all.